Henry Eugene Erwin was born in Adamsville, Alabama in 1921. Raised in a large family, he was compelled to take up work at the age of 10 when his father suddenly died. He later abandoned school in his sophomore year to work in the steel mills and provide for his family. In 1943, Erwin enlisted in the Army Air Corps and eventually became a radio operator on a B-29 Super Fortress. In the winter of 1944, Erwin headed for Guam, leaving his wife of 3 months behind. There he joined a crew of 11 men and flew in some of the largest and most dangerous air raids of the Pacific Theater. Among these was the infamous Tokyo Fire Raid.
One night we had Tokyo burning 17 square miles. My squadron was going in at 5,000. And we lost 14 B-29s that night, most of them carrying 11 to 12 good, outstanding men.
On April 12, 1945, during a routine mission to Koriyama, Japan, Erwin's life changed forever.
We were flying out of North Field, Guam, and we were designated lead plane by General LeMay. And we had 75, 80 B-29s in the rear. And I was dropping phosphorus grenades so they could identify us, those that were in the rear. They only had about 8 or 10 seconds delay from time they would explode. And they burn about 2,000 degrees. When they dropped out of the chute in the radio operator position, they explode and give out a vast amount of smoke.
For an unknown reason, a bomb malfunctioned, exploding in Erwin's face and setting him aflame with white-hot phosphorus.
We either hit a air pocket or it was a defective bomb. For some reason, that thing exploded and we were going down. The plane filled with smoke, and my pilot, Tony Simrell, he couldn't see the instruments. And I realized I had to get it out, otherwise we were all going to die.
In a desperate attempt to save the lives of his crew, Erwin grabbed the flaming bomb with his bare hands and began crawling to the front of the plane.
I knew we were going down. Finally got to the cockpit. I asked Roy Stables, my co-pilot, to open the window, and I flipped it out.
Erwin threw the bomb through the co-pilot's window just seconds from disaster. Smoke cleared the cockpit, and pilot Tony Simrell was able to pull the plane out of its dive at only 300 feet. Erwin collapsed in flames.
All my clothes were burned off, and I had flesh peeling off of me, but I was never unconscious.
The crew abandoned the raid and headed for Iwo Jima to try to save Erwin's life. Shortly after the plane landed, a citation was drafted for the Congressional Medal of Honor. His injuries were so severe that Erwin had to be lifted out of the plane through a window. At 5 a.m. the next morning, Major General Curtis LeMay was awakened and given the Medal of Honor citation, which he forwarded to Washington with word that time was quickly running out. The only Medal of Honor in the Pacific was stolen from a display case in Pearl Harbor and flown immediately to Guam to be awarded to the dying hero. On April 19th, 1 week after the incident, Erwin received the Medal of Honor at a field hospital in Guam.
General May, he and all the bigwigs came on Thursday, 1 week later, April the 19th, and gave me the Medal of Honor.
Erwin was not expected to survive his injuries. His burns prevented him from eating, and he dropped quickly to just 87 pounds. But with the support of his wife, Betty, he endured over 40 plastic surgeries and eventually recovered.
I don't say I'm a hero. We have more freedoms in this country than we realize. But if the youngsters will look and see what price has been paid, because freedom is not free.